I mean, sorry, I'm not.
Okay, welcome everyone to the July Planning Committee meeting of Sandwich Town Council. Item 1, apologies for absence.
We've had one apology from Councillor Marie due to work commitments.
Okay, thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest. To receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on this agenda.
Just item 5J on our neighbours and friends. And as I don't have a vote, I must suppose it seems to be very pertinent.
Okay. Item 3, minutes of the Planning Committee. To approve the minutes of the Planning Committee held on Monday the 10th of June 2024 and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in the agenda.
It's not signing them before we've approved them, is
No,
it?
no, I'm just getting ready. Are you all in favour that we sign it?
Yeah. I propose that.
Second. Are you all in favour?
Yeah.
Absent for injury.
Okay. One abstention. Item 4, public participation. A 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representation at the meeting in respect to the business on the agenda. Individual representation should not exceed 5 minutes. Written notice of the desire to exercise the right to speak, together with the topic to be addressed, must be given to the town clerk by noon prior to the day of the meeting.
No requests.
Okay. Thank you. Item 5, planning applications.
Sorry,
Yes, we've got some from the previous meeting that were already discussed, so
yeah, I apologise. As I didn't do the June meeting, I was a little out of sync, and there were 3 applications we had already discussed in June, and so that's letters D, E and F. So sorry for any confusion.
okay.
Oh, you're right.
5A, planning application reference number 24/00635, proposal, replacement windows, front door, insertion of French doors to replace existing rear door window, insertion of ground/first floor side windows, gate/railings, hip roof, external wall installation and render. Location 25 Moatsole Sandwich, City.
Oh yes, Mr Chairman, I'd like to propose that we support this planning application because, as you see from the before and after photographs, the change from UPVC to wooden would be a great appreciation in the conservation area, despite this property not being listed. The only thing was that there was a query from an applicant on the website over the side access to do with a gate being put up, and it said would it still give access to the rear of the property. So I don't know if it's a shared access, but if it's a shared access, then the gate obviously needs to have some sort of mechanism. So I propose that we support this as long as access is maintained.
Yeah, I'm happy to second the proposal, mainly because it actually takes it in line with other properties on the same street, so it's a vast improvement in my opinion.
Yeah, it's empty for quite a while.
Yeah, I was puzzled by the access comment. I don't think it's really a planning matter in any case, it's a legal issue. If there is a problem with access.
Right away on the road. So, got a proposal and a second of it. All in favour of the, I think what shall we support it, I think? Yeah, okay. B, planning application reference 24/00612, proposal, erection of front porch, replacement roof with 2 roof lights to side extension, 2 roof lights to front roof slope, extension to rear dormer window and replace window with French doors, to rear elevation, existing chimney to be removed. Location 132 St George's Road, Sandwich.
Yeah, I'd like to second that. I think it's quite good because they're going to replace the flat roof, although it's not in the conservation area, and this property actually backs onto the school's playing fields. So any of the alterations that are made at the back of this property won't affect any of its neighbours at all. So I'd like to second that recommendation.
I'm in agreement as well. I noticed there's a number of roof lights to be installed, but looking at other properties in the same street, a number of them already have them, so you won't be able to character with other properties.
There was a load of small projects, but over the last 30 to 40 years, been bought and enlarged and massively enlarged. So, Councillor, what did you? So, we've got first and second, are all in favour? We are, thank you. C. Planning application reference number 24/00628. Proposal variation of condition in 15 floodlights of planning permission 23/00365 for variation of condition 2 approved plan to vary sports pitch design of planning permission 21/01314 section 73. Construction of sports pitch, erection of a 2-storey pavilion, new vehicle access, additional 20 number car parking spaces, fencing, lighting, drainage and ancillary work to allow changes to floodlight uses. Locations for the description.
Oh yes, Mr Chairman, I'd like to recommend this support of this application. This is part of the school's 10-year plan, and it's something they've been struggling to get funding for a very long time. When I went to see the head teacher, he said this is going to appreciably increase the sporting facilities, not only for the pupils but also for residents and other sports clubs there. The only concern I did have was to do with the floodlights, but I noticed they've reduced the hours of the floodlights so that it will only be from up till the 1st of June, so the end of May, and then after from the 16th of August onwards. So they won't be used in the summertime. Monday to Saturday they'll only be used 9 AM to 10 PM, so it won't be used late at night, and on Sundays it'll be 11 AM to 9 PM to respect the local residents in the area, which I think is acceptable.
Maybe the floodlights look just at the pitch, didn't they?
They do indeed. It's quite some, if you've been to the sports field, it's quite some distance now. So, but this will really put the school onto a very good footing.
Been after it for ages, hasn't it? Super.
So this is just a variation of the previous application that we approved. And really what's happened here is that they're trying to simplify the hours for the floodlights. However, though the District Council set parameters for the floodlights, and really it's for them to determine whether this variation is acceptable. So I have no objection to this, but what they have done is they've expanded the number of hours of floodlighting. They've also extended the period of the year that they want to use a floodlight. So actually, they've undermined to an extent the original conditions given by Dover, which were around the environment and local neighbourhood impacts. So I think, for me, there's no objection. It'll be for DDC to decide whether it's acceptable or not, because we previously supported it in any case.
And I think that also it lets other sports people use the facilities, doesn't it?
I can see why
the
they
same
want to do
football
it.
club, or
I can see why.
when you clubs are hockey pitch down.
Thank you. Yes, I would support this application as well. I think nationally it's very much in line with the priorities to encourage sport amongst young people. I think it's an asset for the town as a whole, not just for the school. So I think in principle we should support it. I agree with Councillor Suka that the question of the hours of floodlighting really needs to be sorted out with the District Council, but as far as this committee is concerned, I would strongly suggest we support it.
Yes, because there's been no comments from the neighbours, is there?
No.
Yeah, I just wanted to raise, if my colleagues had any concerns, I've been to the site myself for the opening of the pavilion there was refurbished, so I went along, and the site where this is
behind it now.
right behind. It's tucked away. I mean, the nearest property is quite, you know, several thousand metres away. So, and as there's not been any comments or complaints from the residents, I think that shows us that it's acceptable. So the district council asked us, because obviously we have the local knowledge, so it's up to us to be the eyes on the street and explain.
Yeah, and we have previously agreed that this is actually a variation where DDC put some conditions in place, and they're now challenging back against DDC's conditions. So that's what we're trying to do.
Okay, so all in favour that we should support this application?
Sorry, I had a proposal but not a second.
Oh,
I proposed.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So are we doing D yet, are we?
You have already, I can tell you if you need to be reminded what you had commented. But
Remember them.
I do indeed, yeah.
I know they're written in your diary, I saw your note.
Indeed, yeah.
So then G then?
Yep.
G. Planning application reference number 24/00608. Proposal creation of junction to provide access. Location junctions Monks Way, Discovery Park, Sandwich, Kent. This is a bit complex, but
Oh, sorry. I don't know if Councillor Tudor was first.
So this links to a previous application that STC did approve.
yeah.
That was 21, so it's going back a few years, 00047. No objections were raised at all about time. However, it is designated as an official roadside nature reserve. High population of lizard orchids, and more widely, it's rich in biodiversity, which means removal or damage to a Schedule 8 species, which the lizard orchid is illegal. So for me, and the other thing that's missing in the application is actually a risk of flooding assessment. There isn't one there. We do know it's prone to flooding there, so for me, I object against this one.
Yes, but when you look at the site of there's all roads at the back of this place, isn't there? With an access at the other end, so I don't know whether I want to make an access out onto that way.
Oh yes, yeah, we did actually discuss this one a few months ago. Actually, this is the site. It's not on the site that's leading to Monk's Wall. It's on the other side of the road. It's leading onto the what was Pfizer's land, and we were asked about the junction because they said about the splays that they needed KCC. So we did actually agree it. We did actually agree the access to the site, because this is the site, so that everybody knows, that's got sort of predetermined 500 houses development on this site. So unfortunately, in difference to my companion here, colleague, this is the opportunity, if particularly with a change of government, I don't like to say that, but with the quota for Sandwich, we will be expected to build a couple of hundred houses per year, and I would prefer that the houses were outside of the town rather than inside the town. So if this gives the access to housing to be built away from our beautiful historic town, then I would propose that this goes ahead.
This road is quite a new road, isn't it? It's only about 20 years old, isn't it?
It is.
It's all built through fields.
Exactly.
So the wildlife is really established, hasn't it, over the last 20 years.
And on a lot of developments, they actually relocate the species. That's what happened. In Dover Road, we had a site which was called the Nursery, and Kumar Nursery, and that had the same thing, specified species, but they were relocated.
They've all been
in order to the site. So my proposal is to take this forward.
Mr. Chair, looking at the plans, there is the red line that goes and follows the edge of the boundary of the road. The road is then shown well within the boundary. You have essentially the same road again, potentially built there. I can't see anywhere in the description of what they want to do, quite what they want to do, whether they want to expand the road, make it dual carriageway. From what I've previously seen, the road, they were going to have the entrance so that you entered from on one side of the road and exited on the same side, going between roundabouts if you were on the wrong side of the road. Looking at this, it's almost as if they're going to put like a central margin where you can go both ways, but it's difficult to work out quite what they're going to do. And it seems like they're just putting a very broad planning application that means they can do whatever they want. So I would be inclined to say, to object, not to the entrance per se, but
the crossovers in the middle.
Yes. What's happening?
Because I think it was roundabout to roundabout, wasn't it? Left hand turn.
I recall when we discussed the big housing development there a few months ago, we were criticised for opposing the development when it had already been given outline permission. This was a reserve matters application. It seems to me this could be slightly similar in that they already have the permission to do this, but the situation has changed since they got the outline permission, in that it's now the Verge nature reserve. So I'm wondering if our response should be to say we don't object to it in principle, but what we would like them to do is to mitigate the impact. Because if this is a wildlife corridor, which I'm assuming that's the key objection, then perhaps there can be mitigating measures taken to provide, tunnels for hedgehogs or whatever it might be under that access way.
I think also last time, this time they put a footpath cycleway across, haven't they, to the other side? And I don't think that was there on the first one, does it?
No, that's right.
And people have had to cycle down the road.
They've had to put that in. They've had to put
a crossing in. You go then, you are.
Thank you.
And this is where Alan benefits on.
Thank you, Chair. This may have been agreed in principle, and I don't think I was here for the original application, but it does seem to me that it's our job to flag issues we do think need to be pushed with the application, and I do think it's up to us to express concern if there is an impact on Monk's Wall, which I'm not clear about, frankly, and also the access issue, because that's an important arterial road. It's a major thoroughfare, and any sort of difficulties with traffic going on and off the road would cause problems. I suspect what they're proposing is similar to that outside the refuse depot, where you have to come onto a dual carriageway and follow it down to the roundabout and come back again. But that does need clarification in my view, so I would fully support us issuing one or two concerns about the application.
I don't remember if you go from this way, that right hand turn across, because I think it was just up to the roundabout, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So and that crossing for pedestrians and cycle path, wasn't it?
That's right.
That's a bit of it, isn't it? Oh, sorry, yes. Sorry.
With reference to the width of the swathe that's been put into the plan, I think there's a reference in the proposal that they're concerned about wildlife growing up, so that it might obscure the vision, which is why they've gone a bit wider. The other point I'd say is, setting aside the issue of the invisible orchids, if that is the ideal place for access to the development, then that should be allowed to go ahead.
Yes, right, So, that's the one.
This is also the road where the motorbikes race up and down.
Might be traffic calming, mightn't it?
If there's an access, well, that's one possibility. But if there's an access off there with the right filter, the potential for accidents is increased, I think. Although it could help to calm and speed down slightly as well. Who knows?
So,
I'd already proposed, my proposal was for it to go ahead, but obviously it's dependent on the committee voting, so I'm not sure if anybody else is. for it, but I'm not sure if anybody else, I think everybody else was against it, so, was anybody else for this application?
Well, I think I've seconded it because we've already proposed it before.
We have, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So see if it,
See what happens.
yeah. So we vote on, we accept this proposal. Well,
Sorry, I mean, several concerns have been expressed.
yeah, well,
I think
if
that
this one
should be
doesn't go
reflected.
through, then we go for Councillor Super's one, that,
Yeah. Then we go on to the next proposal,
which is
which be, say, Councillor Super's one.
So we should focus on what the actual application is for. It's about creating the junction rather than we've agreed,
yeah.
you know, a site, and that's all fine, and we're all for that. But this is about the creation of the junction.
Exactly.
And a number of concerns have been raised about the junction with different reasons.
I mean, if you like, I can amend my proposal, Chairman. Yeah, so I'd like to amend my proposal to take in the issues around the concerns of the junction and that's raised with Kent County Council.
And the habitat and things.
And on receiving back recommendations from Kent County Council, who have already assessed it, but perhaps you didn't see all the assessments online at all, but they have already assessed it, but we can ask for further information from KCC. What were the specifics on the junction? So it's a right-hand turn from Colin Wiles, Councillor Wiles, is that correct? And then I think it's the relocation of lizards for Councillor Tuker, is that correct?
So my objection will stand. I can't support this on the environmental impact, so that's completely separate from the KCC have assessed it, and they haven't raised any concerns.
What other amendments do we have? Councillor Pennington, Councillor Mallet, you had amendments.
My amendment would be more detail.
More detail?
Yeah.
And your amendment, Councillor Pennington?
Yes, I mean, I agree with Councillor Mallet that there's insufficient detail. Simply to understand exactly what they're proposing, in my view, on the drawings.
I think that's the other thing with this, the drawings don't show the wider context of where the access goes to or what it's for.
Should we defer this and ask for more information?
It's slightly vague.
Can do, if it's your choice, you're the chairman, it's your choice.
It's up to the committee as well, isn't it? If the committee...
I suppose we know the site already, don't we?
Would you like to defer this till next month and ask for more information from Kent County Council?
You're quite at liberty to express no opinion if you wish.
No, I'd actually go against that.
I think we have got an opinion.
Yeah, I think we should say no opinion, otherwise we're not doing our job, are we? And it will just go ahead.
Yeah.
You've either got to be for it or against it.
I think Paul, if you want to be sensible, do a vote. If you get enough support, then it goes through, and it's majority vote with comments.
I don't know if Councillor Carter is willing to amend his proposal to suggest that we get more detail and bring it back to the next planning committee meeting next month.
I am prepared to do that. Yeah.
You all in favour of that?
Yeah.
Yes. We defer it to the next, get after more information.
I think we need to be very clear to close first as well.
Yes.
So did you amend your...
Yeah, I amended my proposal
to defer?
to defer
Okay.
pending further information from
Okay.
Kent County Council on the highways issues that have been raised this evening.
All in favour of that? We defer? Yeah.
Sorry, so
Second.
Oh, the chair seconded it.
Yeah, I second it, yes. Okay.
You
Yeah, objection.
Thank you.
H.
Sorry, I pressed the button too far. H. Planning application reference number 24/0554. Proposal. Removal of paint at the front elevation, repainting the breathable lime wash, removal of internal breathe block wall, repair timber frame and erect walk, location St Paul's House, 60 High Street, Sandwich, Kent. That's my old club. Oh. Okay, Councillor Wise.
I propose we strongly support this.
Yeah.
It's a good proposal.
Strongly seconded.
Strongly further that.
Strongly enforce that. It's
All in favour? Any other comments?
That's good.
Lovely.
We're all friends again.
Aye. Planning application reference number 23/01437. Proposed erection of single-storey rear extension incorporating partial demolition and rebuild a boundary wall to create cavity wall, rebuilding a boundary wall, and reinstatement of fence panel, amended description, amended plans, re-advertised, location 12 Britannic Terrace, School Road, Sandwich.
Well, we had previously objected to this one, unless it's come back under a new number.
It's revised.
It's been revised,
Yeah.
Library.
There were two walls in question, and one of them, one was for the access, and the other one was for the facilitation of the extension. One of the two walls has been taken down without permission.
I saw that, yeah, I saw that. Well, I would like to propose that we still object to this.
I would like to second that. I mean, the neighbours are up in arms about this proposal, and they argue that the wall's too high, that it will create a blind spot, that it looks ridiculous, and it's against the conventions of the estate, and also that they claim there's been no consultation with neighbours. So I think we almost have a duty to reject this application.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Wise.
Yeah, there's KCC are objecting on the parking and the door, the new door in the wall there. But apart from that, I think this is the third or fourth application with amended plans, and I really don't like these people. To me, they're playing fast and loose with the planning system.
Yeah, not the
They keep putting in revised in the hope that we give up, and it's not good enough, and there are lots of local objections. So I'd be prepared to object to it.
That's Susan.
Yeah, so we made a number of statements around material considerations, so we shouldn't lose sight of those. All those considerations still apply.
Yeah.
So it is the highway safety concerns, it is the entering and exiting the site, which we're against. It's also the flat roof design. So I think we need to make sure the process of continually resubmitting, we want to make sure our original comments, which were all still valid, remain stated.
There was the loss of parking.
Yes,
In an area where there's
the road.
very limited parking,
Yeah.
there'll be a loss of parking,
Yeah.
which is paramount.
Anyone else? No? So we've got
I
a
propose.
motion and a second.
William seconded it.
Yeah, William seconded it.
And that's to
Councillor
be
Fortescue.
object
Object strongly.
Just strongly,
yeah.
Strongly.
And to
And
restate.
to resubmit the material considerations you
Previously
previously
stated, yeah.
So you've read card.
You read card. You read card, no objecting to it, is it?
Well,
Oh,
the
no, you're
proposal
agreeing to-
proposal is to object strongly, so
Yeah.
we would like to see, well, you make your own choices.
Oh, right.
So, sorry.
We ordered
Strongly objecting.
The proposal strongly to object to the planning application, so
Yes.
you have to make your own
We're still
choices.
friends.
We're on the chain now.
yeah, I'm sorry, my thinking going up the J. Yeah. We definitely get our new Chromebooks. J. Planning application reference number 24/00560. Proposal: repointing a rear elevation, rebuild a brick arch to French door to ground floor rear. Location 7 Bowling Street, Sandwich. Councillor Wallace.
Yes, I would support this. It's refreshing to see a really good application with photographs, very clear what's being proposed. So I'm strongly in favour of it.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to second that on exactly the same argument.
Any other comments? All in favour of this then? Strongly approve this. Okay. Planning application reference number 24/00656. Proposal, new conservatory roof structure within rear external courtyard. Existing shed outbuilding demolished. Internal alterations include removal and insert new partitions and openings, including replacement staircase. External alterations include inflow door opening, form 2 new windows to new courtyard, remove 1 number existing wall through and install 1 number new roof to roof, location 12 April Street, Delbury Projects.
I think Councillor Wells had his hand up first, so
Yeah, I finished reading.
I'll defer to he is.
Sorry, I mean, this one has a history, as you all know. It was converted from a retail unit 5 or 6 years ago, maybe less. I've no objection to the concept of this in principle, but I have to say this is the weirdest layout I've ever seen in a residential property in Sandwich. You've got a bathroom off a study, you've got a toilet directly off a kitchen, and a toilet directly off a living room being proposed under this proposal. And I just think, I'm wondering whether we should be supporting that kind of strange layout.
I think hygiene, I don't think you're supposed to have a toilet straight off a kitchen, are you?
Two doors.
In a private house. Oh, I don't know, I don't like this.
The so-called conservatory involves a flat roof, and it's completely absolutely on the boundary of other properties.
Yeah, we don't like flat roofs, do we?
Yeah. So, having come to a few of these meetings, there is a very strong view about flat roofs, so I need to keep the programme, shall we say.
Yeah.
It is a flat roof conservatory, so I don't see why this would be viewed any different from other applications where we've got very vexed about it.
Yeah, get rid of pictures if you like, don't we?
I think it is a strange application, and basically, as I understand it, it's converting property which up to almost 2 residences into 3, and to turn 2 into 3, they're going to have to go through all the contortions that Councillor Wiles mentioned. And I don't know if the Planning Committee can consider this, but I can't help wondering what is going to happen if these plans are approved. I mean, are they going to be Airbnbs, or I mean, I can't quite see families living in any of the 3 proposed conversions.
We did like the conversion, we wanted it shops, didn't we?
I was going to say thank you, Chair. Yeah, I mean, this property, as Councillor Wells said, we all know, any of us that have been here long enough, that this was controversial in the very beginning, and we fought it, we objected to it from the very beginning because of the change from commercial to residential, and even more so because it was an overseas investor that was actually putting forward these changes. So you wouldn't mind if it was a local family that wanted the property for family use, but it's actually for investment as usual. But yeah, with all these changes and alterations, once again, I think we should be objecting to it because I mean it's reducing the quality of living space within this town. And one thing we don't want is this continual changing of properties, as Councillor Fortescue said, because families did move into these properties. And there was one lady that complained to the council afterwards about problems with like a pushchair, a buggy. But she bought the property. They're not suitable for families, but that's all that families can afford. We should be standing up for decent standards for families so that they've got acceptable places to live. And this, because of the cost of them, the lower cost of them, will be bought by families, and it won't be acceptable for them to live there. So we should be strongly objecting against this again.
This application invites the feasibility study, to be honest.
It's not fit for purpose.
So I've got a proposal to reject this application. I mean, a seconder.
I think the grounds are flat roof on conservation and creation of poor internal.
The design.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
So that's sorry, proposed.
Council was and I second it.
I think that's how I vote in. Yeah, unanimous. Good. Now you're right. L. Planning application reference number 24/00653. Proposal installation of a new fume extract system and internal alteration application, Discovery Park House, Ramsgate Road, Sandwich. I think this is just being amended because I think there's a new company moved in there.
Yeah, I'd like to second that. Yeah, it's a new company, a new proposal.
Yeah.
It's going to increase the lab space.
Yeah.
And increased lab space means more employees. More employees means greater income for the town. So I'll definitely second that.
Yeah. Do we do that? Oh. So we all strongly support this application. Yeah.
Yes.
All in favour?
Yeah.
Thank
Did you get proposed and seconded? Okay.
Councillor Morehouse and
Thank you.
P. Planning application reference number 24/6.
Oh,
M.
we're on M.
Oh, M. It's skipped again. I hate this. Yeah, and I've got it there. Look.
I could share.
M. Yeah. Sorry about this.
Do you want these? Would that make it easier?
No, I've got the clerk to keep you going. And Councillor Super is sort of very vulnerable. M. Planning application reference number 24/00616. Proposal creation of a 3G artificial grass pitch (AGP) with perimeter fencing, hard standing area, storage container, floodlights, access footpath, and associated bund. Locations: Bay Point Club, Ramsgate Road, Sandwich, CT13. We've got quite a thing from the tree warden, haven't we? For report. I don't know if you've read the tree warden.
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, I'll reply.
Okay.
Yeah, well, despite the changing from natural to artificial grassed area and the actual space there, Sport England was also against this application because of because it was saying that the actual maintenance on artificial pitches is higher than it is obviously for natural pitches. There's also issues to do with flood risk and things like that. But then, having said that, the Environment Agency came back and they said that it was a very low risk. There was no issue there. And of course, KCC said that they were unable to comment because there wasn't any issues for them to raise there. I think this really is a matter of which it's really outside, it's right on the edge of our parish.
It is in our parish.
It's just in our parish. But I think it's a difference of allowing this to go ahead, which may create more jobs and more opportunities for sport in the district, or considering that it's harmful to nature.
I think that's the problem, because of the soil, it gets heavy and muddy, so they can't use it a lot of the time. It has got floodlights, because it's the old boys and social club, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And now Bayport, I think Ramsgate Football Club are using it.
Yeah.
That's Sandwich Town. So I think it's more usage through the winter months.
Well, I was going to say my proposal was actually on balance is that we should sort of support this to let this go forward based on the recommendations of the tree warden.
Yeah.
So that they do have the opportunity. I don't want the business to go under. You know, if this can help it to flourish, then so be it. Let's support them.
Okay, so voting all in favour in this application? Support it. For sport.
Twisting arm.
N. Planning application reference number 24/00097. Proposal change of use to self-contained flat retrospective located 8A the Butchery, Sandwich Kinsey to 90.
He was first.
When I see the word retrospective,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think it's worth having a good look at it, because it's either a case of someone doing something not realising they needed planning permission, or it's somebody trying to pull a fast one. In this case, planning application was made in 2018 to build above 2 garages to provide a bedroom integral to number 8.
Exactly.
What we have is a self-contained 1-bedroom flat, which to my mind goes nowhere near meeting the minimum size standards. A bedroom, according to the regulations I've looked up, should be at least 11 square metres, and the kitchen come living room 20, which comes to 31 square metres, and that's not counting the bathroom and the landing. And I like rough calculation, because there's no measurements, I couldn't calculate the actual size of the footprint, but it would appear to be about 24 metres, the 2 garages. So it's well below the standard for 1-bedroom flat.
Yeah, I had similar views that, to me this one screams out, and I actually did some checks to see, but it screams out that people weren't actually living there apart from weekends and when festivals on. This screams out like somebody's trying to produce an Airbnb property to me. It's a weekend retreat, something like that. I noticed that the owner of the property doesn't even live in the town, so he's not doing this for himself, is he? So this is purely to make an auxiliary residential unit, and I use the term residential very loosely. So I would object to this planning application. I think it's once again not suitable.
Yes, I would like to support that objection, because I think there is a real danger that the centre of Sandwich is going to have far too many second homes and B&Bs, and this will have an impact on shopping, schools, etc.
The original flat was quite a nice size by the garages, wasn't it? Now they're trying to squash them extra, aren't they? There was an old squash court behind there, wasn't there?
That's correct.
I also feel that we should have a policy about objecting to retrospective planning applications.
Thank you. I'm not sure where the committee stands in relation to building regulations and whether it's our job, if we see that something doesn't apparently meet building regulations, to say so. I don't see why we shouldn't, but on the other hand, it's not really incumbent on us to interpret them. However, I do share the view that enforcement is important, and that retrospective applications should be the exception where there is a genuine case for putting in an application retrospectively. So, I mean, I would be against it on those grounds.
So we've got a proposal to reject this application. We've got a second as well. So all in favour of rejecting this application?
Yeah, I'm
Or one abstention?
abstention.
Abstainer.
Yeah.
We don't like retrospective, do we? Planning application reference number 24/00658. Proposal display of 2 internally illuminated fascia signs, location Discovery Park, Ramsgate Road, Sam. I think this is to replace 2 Pfizer ones with a little bit. Second. All in favour of this? That's more than P. Planning application reference number 24/00701. Proposal reinstatement of garden wall to original height, part demolition of side wall to garage and reinstatement and rebedding of coping bricks to northwest and northeast garden boundary location for a 2PA 47 New Street.
I just want to say that this is an excellent, as was said before, this was an excellent application, and it had photographs and measurements and drawings and designs, and you couldn't but understand exactly what they were doing there. And also, if anybody had bothered to go down to the site is that you could just see over the gates from the other side of the road. You could see the state of the wall, and in particular I know one of the neighbours of this property, and they're having problems with their wall. So it's something that crops up all the time, that these walls, but in particular with this application, where people have patched it up with modern day materials, this is taking it back to put the old materials back in to make it genuine. So
I think it got hit by a car, didn't it? I think it got hit by a car,
I'm
that's why it got
sure.
repaired.
Oh, was it?
They were doing a proper job.
Well, they did a very poor job when they repaired it. So I'd like to support this application, so that this goes back to what it was originally supposed to be.
Are we all in favour of this proposal?
I just wanted to say that the next application is the conservation.
Yeah, it's the same one, but it's the conservation one.
So you do them en bloc if you wanted.
So we're happy with the same proposal, second for the...
That's what I was saying, if the chair's happy to do that, do them en bloc.
Yeah, you're happy to do the conservation one as well? One's a planning, because it's a conservation area, and it's a listed building, isn't it?
So 702, the next one is just for the conservation permission to undertake the works on the property. So you usually do that.
Yeah. Have you do all together,
Yes,
both
yes.
applications? Yeah, okay. Right, item 6. Withdrawal planning applications. Receive a note. Withdrawal planning applications. Planning application reference 24/00459. Replacement of front door and rear front elevation, location 8 Potter Street, Sandwich.
Yeah.
Item 7.
If I could, Mr. Chair, just make a small comment here that had this gone ahead, it would have resulted in the front elevation of this cottage looking different from the adjoining one.
Yeah.
Nearly, where there's a pair of cottages, the same design, same age, same appearance, it would be a shame if one side gets a different treatment than the adjoining one. So I'm quite happy that it's been withdrawn.
Yeah, we often get that like mismatch, you know, don't we? It is nice to see it matched.
Yes.
Item 7, planning decision to receive and note latest decisions taken by Dover District Council on new planning applications. Is there anything comment or two?
Yeah, I was going to comment on 23-00420 White Mills Wake and Aqua Park.
Yeah.
We had quite a bit of discussion about this, the town council, because I wasn't a member of the planning committee then, but permission has been granted, but I just wanted to point out there's been a significant number of conditions put on to the park itself that they need to meet. And I think some of those will be quite challenging, so it'll be interesting to see the progress of this.
Yeah.
So, because there were a number of discussions previously around not having static caravans, we were discussing in this group. There were a number of issues about the artificial lake, the impact on the environment. There was a long list. And a lot of those are picked up in the considerations that have been imposed by Dover District Council.
Yeah, I talked to some of the neighbours, they said it's been a vast improvement compared to International Weekend, didn't we? They said it went very well.
Yeah.
Any other? Yeah, happy to propose law and the second to note this up.
So did we have a...
I'll second it. I'll second the acceptance of those.
Item 8, street furniture applications to receive and consider any applications made to DDC in relation to street furniture consent application under the Local Government Act Miscellaneous Provision 1982. Please note none to consider at the time issuing this agenda. Okay.
Yeah, so could I just mention, because it's not picked up here, is that the New Inn have had their licence application at DDC approved to allow them to put tables and chairs onto the forecourt, which they've started doing ahead of agreement with the town council in terms of this space, unless that's changed.
Just querying, you said the new in
Marketing.
Marketing.
I keep
You
on saying
originally
you
said
and
the
you're right.
new in, sorry.
You're right. You know you're right. I've said the new in before. The marketing.
Yeah, you've got
It's
to
marketing,
sorry.
Okay. I thought we had a new application.
No, I'm not. I don't want to sit more.
I haven't seen any official paperwork.
The marketing.
But they have told me themselves directly that they have received permission.
So they have a permission from the town council.
And
I think we agreed, didn't we?
We had a meeting with Shelley Mead.
Yeah.
It's made clear they needed both the licence and our permission.
Yeah.
But they've gone ahead having got the
Yeah,
BBC.
and there were a number of conditions that we asked. Sorry, that we're entitled to ask as landlord for the land, and I'm not sure that all of those have been hit as religiously as was expected. But you know, that might just be TV problems.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's been done without a shop, but it's on the same as the chairs in the wrong place.
I was just going to suggest, Mr. Chairman, then, if the landlord and landlady of the Market Inn say that they have had all the paperwork sent to them, then could we see copies of said paperwork and have copies of that? So if they've already gone ahead with this, so I think we should have all copies of all paperwork. So I think they should be pulled up and asked where all these agreements are. So could that be undertaken? Yes, yes, please.
But I think for me, this is a two-step process. Dover District Council give them the opportunity to put out tables and chairs. We as landlords then say, these are our terms which we've already stated to Shepherd Mean.
Yeah.
And unless we have a contractual arrangement, we actually have a number of risks around those tables and chairs, as they do as well, because we don't have a contract in place.
No, we need to check about, get the contract together and make sure it's correct.
It's rather like obtaining planning permission on a site you don't own.
Yes.
You know, you can get planning permission, fine, but you can't do anything unless the owner gives you consent to go in, and they haven't done that.
No, I know the site down the back of Willowbank there, where they're developing it all now, and I know there's a big chunk there that doesn't actually belong to them, but they've actually put in a planning application years ago. And I said they don't own that bit, they said, well, they still put a planning application in.
Because they can.
Because they can.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to comment that I know that several other places are watching very closely what happens with the marketing application, and so I think we should really make sure that we get the procedure right, because other people are going to be following it.
Yeah, no problem. I do know that the town clerk is in communication, so I will get us an update.
So I'll just give you an example. Sorry, Jeff, just to labour the point. If we stipulated it should be disposable plastic, if bottles end up on the forecourt, that's not acceptable to us as a landlord, I don't think.
No.
So I'd like to say, you know, we've put new tables out this week. They look great, brilliant. So that's great. But actually, there's certain health and safety issues that we really have to, as a council, make sure we can.
And I think they also need to mop up any spillages. There are people that had a drink and then just sort of tipped it on us. So we do need to, they need to make sure it's not clean and tidy, and safe.
Yeah.
You could get beer spilled, it could be quite slippery, couldn't it?
What about smoking then? It's happened in other parts of the country. They've actually stipulated spaces, outdoor spaces where smoking
I
is
think
not
cost to smoke outside, don't they?
that might be difficult there because of the sound of children.
Just one clarification. Disposable plastic, can that just be plastic? Because for example, the festival. Yes, the festival beer mugs.
Acrylic, don't they?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
They're tougher.
But the intention is for multiple years.
Souvenir glass.
Can I just add, Councillor Mallet, that your polypropylene festival mugs were still disposed of in the flower beds in this station. So they may be recyclable, but
they could be there for years.
Nobody's recycling them as they should be.
Well, I think what we should do is collect them and get our pound back.
Item 10, enforcement. To consider any enforcement notices and issues received from Dover District Council. Please note, none to consider at the time of issuing this agenda. Item 11, correspondence. To receive and consider correspondence relating to planning matters, including the notification of appeals against refusal of planning applications. Item 12, verbal update by Dover District Council on matters relating to planning.
Run through the list. Okay, so planning application 24, I believe 00068 St Peter Street. I mentioned it at the last planning, the last full council meeting. Unfortunately, that was approved to convert into residential.
I'll ask a question. That went to planning committee, didn't it?
Yeah, I called it in, and unfortunately, because of injury, I couldn't turn out at the meeting and speak.
So was there anybody speaking against it?
That doesn't appear to be from the video footage that I've seen.
It was supported by another
councillor. So that's the commercial property that's lost.
Who was it supported by? What was it?
I mean, I find that rather distasteful, actually. I mean, what weight does the local plan have in these matters?
Yeah.
Even though it's not formally adopted, it's more or less there.
Not work, is it?
No.
Try for unusual,
The next two refers to planning applications 19 oblique 000243 oblique CON oblique 19 oblique 00243 oblique 1 in Montague Place, Winsborough Road. So two things here. One is the diseased trees, which I'm still waiting for an update on. Although the enforcement officer is saying that abbey homes are notoriously difficult to deal with. And the second is the road sign, incorrect road sign. First of all, they installed incorrect road names. Then they installed correct road names, but with the wrong size signage to fit into the apertures on the frames. I was informed that that would be rectified by the end of June. It still hasn't been done, so I've chased that up. Next is the flats of 92, 94, 96, 98 St Bart's Road, where the path level at the rear of the property was not fit for purpose in terms of this disability. I'm pleased to say that work has now been completed. Next is land south of Whitefriars Meadow, reference ENF oblique 23 oblique 00420. I'm still chasing removal of the Harris fencing because it's an eyesore. It really does ruin the aspects of the walkway. Next one is ENF oblique 24 oblique 00090 57 New Street. I was informed by the planning officer in charge of this, Gary Boots, on the 8th of May that there was a there was a site meeting to be held on the 19th of June, and I've chased what the results of that site meeting were. And then finally resulting in a Facebook post about some claim of a land grab in the new development immediately behind the even numbers at the lower end of St Bart's Road, and where a land had been cleared, so that they were moving back of the fence. That fence has now been moved back into that space that's been cleared. There is an ongoing investigation with Abbey Homes and DEC about the scope of the planning application and whether it actually tallies up with the amount of land that was available for buy and sell by Abbey Homes. So I'm waiting for results on that.
Thank you.
So could I just ask Councillor Moore, as you said that 57 New Street, the meeting was in June.
Yeah, 19th of June.
So you still had no
response? Well, I have chased that.
It's like a black hole.
Communication participation is painfully slow.
Item 13, date of next meeting. 12th of August 2024. We finished it.
That's exactly.